Welcome to one more edition of Politics Done Right. I'm here with Nisha Randle, Texas Democratic Party's Deputy Communication Director and Indivisible Houston Vice President. But I actually know her as one of the premier activists here in Houston, Texas. Nisha, how are you doing?
I am doing okay under the circumstances.
Well, are you bored yet? I know you've been home for a long time, even though you said you kind of escaped and went to HEB, the grocery store, a few times.
Yes, I have gone to the grocery store.
Did you use the grocery store sort of like a let me get the hell out of this house?
Yeah, I sorta.
Sorta.
Yeah.
Just
Well,
sorta.
just because I don't cook
Uh,
um, and so it's, restaurants being closed and not being able to go anywhere, you kind of have to go to the grocery store now. So, I
so are you
mean,
cooking?
I'm I'm cooking food that doesn't really require cooking, so a lot of things that I just throw in the microwave.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, look, you've been doing a whole lot of stuff. I mean, you've been out there with the Women's March and trying to arrange people to get together outside and do things. What is this kind of lockdown doing to the movement?
I think it's kind of having us reevaluate how we connect with people. Right now, everybody's at home and like they're doing what we're doing right now is talking to each other remotely, utilizing video tools or phone calls. And we just have to kind of get creative in how we engage with people now.
Now, as director of the Texas Democratic Party, deputy communications director of the Texas Democratic Party. I kind of think this sort of happened at the worst time. How are we going to handle getting the messaging out? How are we going to handle things like the convention, Texas State Convention, etc.?
hmm
Do you have any news on how we're going to be doing those things?
We're still working out the details on the convention. It's still going to happen. We're just trying to figure out how we can do it where we can get as many people to participate remotely.
Hmm.
Honestly, when you think about it, it kind of opens it up to people who couldn't afford to come to the convention before. They can watch it from home. I mean, there's just like kind of twofold to it. It's going to be um, interesting and a challenge to figure out how we get all the party's business done remotely, but then we also have the opportunity to open up the whole process to a lot of people that weren't involved in it before.
Now, so is it almost a foregone conclusion that there won't be an in-person Texas Democratic Convention in Texas this year?
No, there won't be. I think we came out with that last week that it will be virtual, remote, whatever you
Hmm.
want to call it. Yeah.
And is when you say virtual remote, are we talking about zooming in people to talk,
Um,
or what are we going to do?
Zooming panels, Zooming the actual convention business, pre-recorded sessions for constituency groups and things like that. We're just still, trying to figure out how it all works, and we're in the planning stages of, you know, how many people can we actually get in a room? Does that even make any sense? Can we do everything completely remotely? Yeah, so I mean, that's where we are, and I think a lot of people are really committed to making this work for people. And like I said, there's going to be so many people who get to see the actual party doing business that haven't had that opportunity before. So, we're trying to look at on the bright side of this insane circumstance we all find ourselves in right now.
Now, delegate selection is usually a thing where you want to sort of, it's sort of a touchy-feely thing, right? You're trying to
hmm
convince a group of folk, hey, I want to be a delegate, and you go and you talk in the back room and that sort of thing. All of that is sort of done with. Are we going to have some sort of a mechanism where I can't picture how we would do that online, but how we would do that online so that we know who are the people within our, let's say, Senate district to talk
hmm
to become delegate for the particular candidate we want to be delegating for?
I think initial round of who delegates are have come out. I think a list of other delegates and delegates that haven't been assigned yet is still coming. This is a question that I need to talk to somebody else in the office, but I can definitely come back and give you some more information about that.
Okay, that's excellent. Now, do we expect? I think the Democratic Party has moved the convention to August,
Hmm.
and so I think they're hoping that by then we can actually have an in-person convention like we did in 2016 in
Hmm.
Milwaukee this year. Do you really feel that's going to happen?
I don't know. I mean, I think everybody is taking this kind of like day by day, although we probably need to be thinking 3 to 6 months out.
Hmm.
But in a situation that nobody's been in before in this country, it's just kind of hard to see. We'd love to be able to all get together in Milwaukee, but if we can't, then we'll make sure that we have an experience that does the business of the party. Um, we nominate, uh, um, or we get a nominee, and do what we have to do. But nobody's going to compromise anybody's health or safety or anything like that.
All right. Well, now let's switch from Democratic Party now to Indivisible Houston.
Hmm.
Tell me a little bit about what has Indivisible Houston's been doing. Is it going to be
Hmm.
able to? Is there a new functioning that you're going to do to try to keep all those people that you had engaged during this crisis?
Like I said, everybody's trying to engage people online. The old saying, you got to meet people where they are. And
Right.
this is really where most people are right now. I think it's also interesting because when you have the opportunity, before all of this happened, people got their news and everything and different streams that they were tailored to themselves. But now I think we have more of a captive audience than we've had before. We had our first virtual Zoom meeting last week, and it went really well. We're planning to have another one next week where we'll talk about, how we can still maybe register voters, which is sucky in Texas because you can't do it online or
Online.
anything like
Yeah.
that. And then we'll talk about how we really want to push the vote by mail option, because who knows what's going to happen in November. And that's probably going to be the best way that we can make sure that we get as many people out to vote as they can. Well, not out to vote, but are voting if we work on that. So we're just trying to figure out, how we adapt in this uncharted territory we're in right now.
You know what is interesting? I read a piece from Georgia yesterday where one of the Georgia leaders said that if vote by mail is instituted, Republicans are going to be wiped out. I guess they really mean because if you get more people voting,
Hmm. I
that's not
mean,
a.
we always know that though.
Yeah,
That's always the case. Um, and maybe that's why we don't have the option right now in Texas to vote by mail for, that's expanded. You kind of think in the middle of a pandemic that everybody be jumping on the opportunity to let people vote by mail, but there's still that struggle against voter suppression and people who don't want the majority's voices to be heard.
would that require a special session of the Texas legislature
I'm
to
not
do that?
sure that would require that at all. I think that could be something that the Secretary of State and county voting officials, county clerks, were able to kind of work out. It's going to take some planning, and it can't be something that we decide to do in October and then we just make it happen. If we
Right.
need to vote by mail in the general, we're going to need to start making plans to do that now. And honestly, I don't know why we can't just in Texas and around the country have an initiative where we just let people vote by mail. I mean, we're smart enough to figure out how to do it. There's other states who do it, but then there's states like Texas who don't want you to vote. So
Right. Well,
that's kind of what we're up against.
that goes without saying. Okay, well let's talk about you now, Nisha. Nisha, how are you doing? I mean, one of the things that, and I tell you this on Facebook all the time, is I get sometimes watching you, I get tired because there's so
What?
much, there's so much that you're always doing. I mean, you're always moving. That's why I kind of wonder if you feel like you're in prison right now because you aren't out there like you always are.
I think I miss talking to people more than anything else. I, you know, I'm just, when you work in an office or in this, like mine, you're in a room with your colleagues all day and you're talking about work and what you saw on TV last night or what you're going to do this weekend, and you just kind of miss that. Um, there's all these things that I plan to learn how to do. Like I was going to knit, and then I was going to like hang up all my clothes and all this stuff. And I still haven't gotten there yet,
Did you
but
say knit?
yeah, knit. I'm,
Really?
yes, I'm going to learn
I,
how to
I thought
knit.
I heard you say knit earlier, and it's like
Yes, I
Nisha
did. I'm going to
knit.
knit you a coaster.
Okay, I'm waiting on my coaster. Okay. Hey, you know what? I want one that says politics done right. Then
Oh, okay. We'll see.
you'll see about that one.
We'll have to see about that one.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. All right.
Yeah.
So yeah, but other than so when did you go lockdown before the order came or
Right before the order came.
uh-huh. And is
So
everybody in the office
I
just
was in
fine that you know?
Austin working. And then I came home for the weekend and they were just like, just stay there because we're not gonna have the office open.
Right.
And so we initially thought it would be like to the first week of April and then maybe the middle part of April, and now it looks like it's gonna be the end of April, at the very least. So
Now, Nisha, with your new position as the deputy director, are you still here in Houston or are you somewhere else now?
I haven't officially moved. I'm just kind of going back and forth. I
So,
wasn't
and
before.
it's in Austin, right? Or
Yes, in Austin.
well, you know what? There's Austin. That is my town. I simply
Really?
that's where I went to school, and that's where I Barton
Okay.
Springs
I don't know
and
why I hadn't
Mount
talked to you about
Bonnell.
Austin then.
Huh?
I got to Austin and I was like, I hate this city.
You
And
hate Austin?
I didn't really hate it. I was just missing home.
Oh yeah,
So,
you miss home, but you know what?
yeah.
When you get into when you get there, Austin is kind of weird, and I'm weird, so I mean,
Yeah. I,
it's it's one of those kind of cities. I just love the place. What happened though is I think your entire clique is here in Houston, so
yes, my clique. We roll deep.
you roll deep with your clique. We
We
see
roll
you.
deep and they were all like, I can't believe you're doing this. You're leaving us. But, I was like, hey, I'm coming home every weekend. And
But Austin isn't leaving. You don't even have to come every weekend. The
I
pastor
know.
just have to come up and look for you every
Yeah.
so
I mean,
often, and
that's what we were planning to do. Like, they would come up a weekend, I would come down a weekend. I still have my place here and I love it and I'm not giving it up. So
yeah, well, that's the name of the game. When you
yeah.
when you become the big shot, well, or rather,
Oh
what should I
no.
say? When you become the bigger shot, when you start to run things.
I'm so not running anything,
Well, I
but
mean, actually, I
okay.
think I think you're doing like a boss job. That is all what it's all about. So
Thank
anyway,
you.
so look, so you're doing fine. We're doing fine
Hmm.
with regards to what's going to happen in the election. And as far as your activism is concerned, now that you're kind of deeper in the party, you can't participate as much. But you know what?
Hmm.
I think the legacy that you've left already down here, you have enough folks to kind of. No,
Yeah.
I tell you that all the
I
time.
know, but it's so not true. It's not true.
It is so
But
true. Yeah.
I appreciate you saying that. I
It is
do.
so
Thank
true.
you.
So anyhow, Nisha Randle, Texas Democratic Party Deputy Communications Director, Indivisible Houston Vice President and activist. Give me a little closing statement. Tell the people something, and then we'll finish off here.
Um, I just want everybody to remember this is hard for so many people, and those of us who still have jobs and are complaining about being able to work from home. I think we need to be grateful. I think if you can help anybody, um, try to help somebody, um, and just take care of each other.
You know what? That is so important. And I like what you just said. A lot of people have the ability to work at home right now. We don't have anything to complain about.
Hmm.
The people on the front line are the folks that are sweeping your floors on the outside, picking up your
Right,
garbage, and also working in those grocery stores. And don't
right,
forget the doctors, the nurses that are putting all of their
yeah.
lives on their line. So you're so right about that, Nisha. Nisha Randle, thank you so kindly for being with
Thank you.
Politics
It's
Done
so
Right
good to see
today.
you, Egberto.
It's great to see you too.
Miss you.
Absolutely. Well, we'll see each other pretty soon. Take care, my
Yeah.
friend.
Okay.
I'm Egberto Willies, host of Politics Done Right, an independent news program. I post several news videos of interest every day. I ask you so kindly to subscribe to my channel and please leave me some comments. Thank you very much.